Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Welcome to the show. Whatever time it is, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I always say I have a special guest, but I have a very special guest. I've known this lady off and on for the last 17 years, and she's a 40-year veteran of our industry. I have the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Azamara Cruises with me this morning. So welcome to the show, Dondra.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how honored I am to be a part of your show today.
Honored? Wow. No one's ever been honored.
Well, you have a first now.
Well, I gave you 2 months. I said at the end of 2 months, I'm calling Dondra because I want her on the podcast. So I'm glad you're here today, and we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about with you, I'm sure.
Thank you.
So you've been there for 2 months. Anybody come and gone yet? You shaking up the tree? What are you doing new and exciting at Azamara?
So, thank you so much for asking. Actually, we have made quite a few changes. There's one thing that I did say that I was going to do, and that is I'm doing these 12 city tours around the country, doing what we call the triple L's: listen, learn, and link together, right? Like link together. And I'm learning a ton. Because what I want to do is in the first 90 days, I want to hit as many of these cities, and listening to you guys as travel advisors, you, Michelle, a lot of the cruise planner agents. And that way, when I do make big changes, I'm going to do it based on having 500 plus travel advisors advice on what we should, what we call start, stop, and continue. And I think that makes us pretty smart, right? Because we're going to leverage all of that brain power in this business. But right away, I knew that we needed to make some personnel changes. So we've changed out 3 of the leadership positions. We've changed the shower curtains on our ship. We've actually increased the food spend. So there's little baby things that I've done. But I really want to do the big things once I learn from all of you. And then I make sure that we get that right.
That's music to my ears, to ask advisors and listen and then implement. That's so key, because we listen to our clients. Exactly. And every client that travels, we meet with them by phone, by Zoom call, whatever, when they come back, regardless of where they've been, regardless of how long they've been gone. And we take notes and we pass that information on. So I'm so glad that you are such a breath of fresh air to anything, any place when you walk in the room just lights up anyway. So these people have to be totally excited to have you on board.
Well, what's sweet of you to say that. I appreciate that so much. What I can say is that I'm humbled and honored to be given this opportunity. You know this about me. I've been around a long time, 40 years. You said it, right? And so I'm 60 years old, and I'm a first-time CEO at 60 years old, and I've never done the back of the house, right? I've never done the finance and those types of things. I've only done the sales, the marketing, right, generating revenue. And you know what? I have a lot to prove to myself and to everybody else on this earth that says a 60-year-old female that's been in nothing but sales and marketing can run this amazing Azamara brand and do it in the way that energizes people, makes them know that they're valued, and just do amazingly successful, positive things with your head and your heart combined.
Whoa, you said a mouthful then.
But that's how I feel.
You guys are a kind of a unique player in the space out there with what you do. And I think there's some really positive things that you do about destination immersion as much as anything. So tell our listeners a little bit about what that means to you, the destination immersion.
Yeah. And, I'm so grateful that you asked the question, because, once somebody decides they love cruising, which, many, 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 many millions of people around the world love cruising. what Azamara does is that we're the leader in small ship. Because remember now, we only have 350 staterooms, and the whole ship holds 700 guests, which people love those small ships, right?
Yes.
But what happens is you may not like the experience of getting off the ship at 8 in the morning and trying to get back on the ship at 4 in the afternoon when you're in these beautiful destinations around the world. So once you've decided that cruising is for you, or even if you thought you might do a hotel and stay in a hotel for a couple of days and then go to a different place and stay in a different hotel and then go to a different place, that's really where we come in, Ronnie, because what we do is we will go to a destination, and I'll give you an example. Sydney. We're right in the heart of the harbor in Sydney, Australia. And while others have to get off the ship, go in, take a picture of the opera house, and then run back to the ship, what we do is we actually are there from 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock the next day. So we really get immersed in that destination so that you can actually go to an opera house performance. So we go to these places that the big ships can't go to. We give you this very unrushed and relaxed experience because we're there late night and overnight. But then we also do this one extra special thing, and that is in every cruise, we do what we call an As Amazing Evening. And what that is we create it, we curate it, and we deliver it to every single one of our 700 guests. And if you tried to do that on your own, you could never do it.
No.
So that's why people love our little baby brand, because they can really, really get authentically into the destination.
So you don't just do that in Sydney. I mean, there's a few other places around the world that you do these overnights, I'm sure.
Many places around the world. So you know how when something matters, it's measured, right? So almost 50%. Are you ready for this? Almost 50% of every one of our itineraries around the world are late nights and overnights.
Wow.
And then 80% stay more than 9 hours. And the competitors in my competitive set are 20 points away from that. But that's really just the math, right? But the emotion is what really matters about that.
You know, it's huge. I've been on 115 cruises, and I cannot tell you how many times that I've said, I wish we had another day here.
Exactly. And this is, let me give you an example, right? Like, so we go into Bordeaux and we literally pull right up to the city center, the heart of the city. And we get right off the ship. You just walk right off the ship. You're in the heart of the city. And some of the other lines actually they have to dock 2+ hours in a bus ride away.
Oh.
So what happens is that we're on our second glass of wine when they get off the bus and just arriving, right? But it's places, though, that you would never know. And you and I have been on many ships around the world, right?
Yep.
But we go to so many places that people are like, Dondra, I don't even know what that is. I'm so excited because we either do Italy intensive, Greek intensive, Spain intensive. So we'll do 10, 12 nights and just stay in Greece or in Spain or in Italy.
Right.
And so you really get into this authentic experience. You go to the big places that you would expect to go, but then you go into these little places that no one has ever heard of and that you get to experience the local culture. And I just think that really sets us apart. So when you're looking for something really special, a small ship that's going to have amazing food and service, and then go to these types of places, this is why you guys love us and why we love working with you. And that's why consumers come back over and over and over.
Well, it's called bragging rights when you get to go to those little places that nobody else goes to, and you come home and you're talking to your friend. Have you ever been to?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll tell you
And
the one thing I really, really love about your cruise line is how, and I don't know how your staff does this, but they know who you are by the second day.
I'm so glad you said that.
And it's like I've been backstage at the Ritz-Carlton before at various locations when we were doing events there, and they have a big sign on the door, "Smile, you're about to go on stage." And I know that you guys must have pictures of all 700 people that's on the ship so that so that they know who you are, because
Yeah.
they know your name, they know your drink. That my, my wife used to tell me it's probably because you drink too much.
I don't think it's that. Although I love your wife for keeping you, on the straight and narrow. Good for her. Actually, it is the magic. It's so funny because you're asking me questions that I'm so grateful for, because you're allowing me to actually explain to your listeners exactly what is the magic of Azamara. Because it's small ships and we go to these places and we stay late night overnight. But I'll be honest with you, what you just described, which is sometimes one of the most difficult things to describe to people, is the relationship between our guest and our crew. I have never seen anything like it. It is so real that I've had guests literally say, Dondra, I came on the first time as a guest and I walked off as a family.
Yeah.
And I come back over and over and over. They follow the captains because they want to go where the captain goes, even if it's to a destination they've already been to. So what happens on that ship is that we create a family atmosphere. And it's really important to me. And you and I've known each other a long time. I think having a family atmosphere in your work world where you feel valued and heard is important. And so what happens is the ships take on that persona. And so then the captains and the hotel directors and the head of human resources, they treat everybody that way. And then the guests and then the crew ends up treating the guests like that. And it works because
It does.
everybody loves it and feels special.
Well, it's like the old theme song from Cheers. Everybody wants to go to a place where everybody knows your name, and
Everybody knows your
you
name.
guys pull it off. I mean, you really do. I had the last time I was on Azamara, I had breakfast with the captain 2 or 3 mornings. He just walked up and said, "Do you mind if I join you?" And I go, "Heck no."
But see, he also felt your love and energy too. You walk in a room and it lights up as well.
Yeah, sometimes the lights blow out. Well, okay, so you offer your guest a lot of ports of call around the world where you have that
Yeah.
extra day. You offer them this Cheers kind of environment where everybody knows their name. What else about Azamara that is a differentiator from everybody else?
So here's another thing. First of all, when you get on, everything's taken care of, right? You don't have to worry about that saying that I've heard many times. I don't want to be nickel and dimed, right? And so
Right.
I want to get on. Your drinks are already included. Your gratuities that you would give to the crew, they're included. 24-hour room service is included. Laundry's included. And so when you look at the price, the value that you get on Azamara is so good because that's so much of what you would spend incrementally. And then the other thing that's super magical is that we don't repeat the same ports over and over and over. We have a world cruise that literally goes 120, 150 days. We actually, listen to this, we have Africa cruises and we partner with Mikado Tours to do safaris in the
Wow.
middle of an African cruise. People don't know that. Then we also do something that's super special at the Monte Carlo Grand Prix. Well,
Oh,
you know the Monte Carlo. I know you know the Monte
yes.
Carlo Grand Prix. We actually have a 5 night sailing. Our sailings are normally 9, 10, 11, 12 nights. Then we have those intensive ones that are a little longer than I mentioned. But we had 91% of all of our guests were brand new on this 5 night Monte Carlo Grand Prix. And what happened was we give tickets to the Monte Carlo Grand Prix. We stay there for 2 days. And so our ship acts as a hotel. And you go into Monte Carlo, you see the Grand Prix, etc. And then we do British Open. We're doing an eclipse, the solar eclipse in 2026. So in addition to destination immersion, we actually do these very unique and special bucket list one-time things.
The Monaco Grand Prix is second to none as far as a destination that you want some bragging rights. Come back from there. You'll be talking about it for years. I mean,
It's true.
I've taken
It's true.
two groups there, and one year we had tickets in the grandstands, and the next time I took a group, we actually bought space on the back of one of those yachts that's backed up to the racetrack.
Oh my God, that's awesome. But see, that's what we do, right? And so think of how much fun you had and how real it was. And so that's the sweet spot for us. And you know what's interesting? Our guests come back to us at the highest rate I've seen in my 40 years. Because once somebody becomes an Azamara customer and they now become family members, they come back over and over and over because we are so diverse that you could do 40, 50 cruises and never repeat.
Wow. I've never thought about that, but you don't do a lot of repetition.
No, we
And that's
don't.
the easiest thing for an itinerary builder for a cruise line. Let's just rubber stamp it and do the same thing next year and go on, right?
Exactly. And we have a gentleman named Mike Paulus. I swear I've never seen anything like it. He's like an encyclopedia of destination and knowledge. And I feel so blessed that he's part of my team because I think he's the best I've ever seen.
Well, he must have been trained by my good friend Claudius Dochical then.
I love it. I don't know who that is. And I'm like, should I know that?
Well, one of your predecessors there at Azamara nicknamed him years ago, nicknamed Claudius Google. That's how much he knows about the world.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think we would definitely put Mike in the same category. Was that Larry Pimentel?
Yes, it was. It was.
So, I love my Larry Pimentel. He's a dear friend. And when I was fortunate enough to get this position, I spent 3 hours with him, listening and learning, getting his advice. I actually spent an hour with Christine Duffy, getting her advice because, I really want to do this well. And Larry taught me so much. And Larry told me Mike Paulus is an amazing head of itinerary planning. You better wrap your arms around him. And I so have done that.
Well, if Larry Pimentel wants to sit down and talk to you for 3 hours, that's priceless. You can't buy that. You could not afford that meeting.
It's so true. But he does love me and I love him right back.
Good. So, in addition to all these other things, you touched on a little bit earlier, but you didn't drill very deep about the unique destinations.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things you've got coming up or that you've done in the past, unique destinations with Azamara.
Yeah. So, I mentioned Africa and I mentioned the eclipse, the solar eclipse in 2026. We're going to have 2 of our ships literally go right where in Europe, right where the eclipse is taking place. And I got to tell you, that's not even open for sale yet. So you're getting the inside scoop. Ooh. So nice.
Pays to tune in.
Exactly. Then we're also doing, for the first time, we're doing a combination of 7, 14, 21, and 28 days where you can do one of those segments or all of them in Europe, doing the Greek and then Italy intensive. And so I mentioned that earlier. And then I was going to think of, we do this amazing South America cruise that's an a 10 or 11 night cruise that stops in places that you've never heard of. And then we just added Vanilla Islands on our itinerary.
I've never heard of Vanilla Islands.
I know, and it's selling like crazy. And we just opened Japan. We've got these Japan intensive cruises that's where the Vanilla Islands are. We're doing some of those. We're going to be there when the cherry blossoms are happening. And then we've got a world cruise. But our world cruise does not act like other world cruises, right? So we actually are going around the Red Sea because, we can't really go through the Red Sea right now. So we've created this absolutely phenomenal itinerary. And you want to hear something interesting? In the world cruise that we had for 2024 this year, we had to modify it because of all the things that are going on. And so we modified it to go around the Red Sea. And it was so popular that now we've modified it permanently. And so we're now going to do that because we've got such rave reviews from the guests that were on it, that what we're now doing is making that permanent. And so we're going around the Red Sea, then we're coming across, doing Iceland, Greenland, coming across, then we're coming down and we're going to be doing the west coast of the United States. We're going to do Alaska, then come down to San Francisco, San Diego, then go through the Panama Canal, and then go right back to Miami to start doing the sailing. I've never seen an itinerary like this. And also, it is not even open yet.
you really are listening to what people want. You know, if I still remember Field of Dreams. If we build it, they will come. And I
Exactly.
think you're onto something.
Well, you know, I love that movie, number one. So I completely understand what you're saying when
Yeah.
Kevin Costner said that. But we are listening, though. You know what I mean? We really want to listen to you guys because you're the expert. You're the value interpreter for your listeners and other, other guests that you have all the time. And I know that if I listen to you and others at Cruise Planners, Michelle, etc., we're going to get this right.
You know, if you can't go wrong when you listen to people like Larry Pimentel and Michelle Fee and just industry titans.
Exactly.
The ownership of your cruise line is a little bit unique, as well as all the other unique things you're doing. You're not part of some big corporation. You're not some little privately funded company that may or may not make it.
We are owned by a private equity firm. And we are so proud of that because, coming out of the pandemic, um, unfortunately, the cruise industry got hurt. And so there's a lot of, debt that the cruise lines have to really focus on taking care of. And we're very blessed in the sense that we don't have that debt because we're private equity owned. It also gives us the ability to make decisions that are right for the customer. We don't have to answer to Wall Street. And so we can really be maniacally focused on this very small company that focuses on, ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. And I can't tell you how much I love that.
I used to send, when I was a financial advisor in my previous life, I used to send my staff, if I hired a new team member and they lasted a year, I sent them for that very specific training. And
It's amazing.
it makes a huge difference, huge difference.
It really does.
Well, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed our time together, I even learned stuff. I guess I'm going to have to wait and find out what this eclipse thing's all about. Almost forgot.
Okay, come on.
Golf. You guys have a great partnership.
We
in
didn't talk
golf.
about Perry Golf. I'm so glad
No.
you mentioned it. So we have a partnership, just like Mikado is our safari partner. We have a partnership with Perry Golf. And we just did a Scotland intensive cruise that played in 21 different golf courses through Scotland, and you know some of them. And Perry Golf was our partner. And Perry Golf is a business partner for us. We do at least 2, if not 3 cruises a year partnered with Perry Golf. And I got to tell you, our guests absolutely love that. So, if you've got a listener that is a member of a country club and wants to go do something different and unique and play golf in Scotland or at the British Open, that's where we come in, right?
I
So,
know. It's awesome for you golfers out there. The
yes,
only time you see your shoes and your clubs are at the course.
exactly.
They're there. They've been cleaned. Your shoes have been polished. You step in your shoes and drive to the first tee. Uh, when you leave the club, you leave all your stuff there. You go back to the ship for the free cocktails because you got to pay for them at the course. You get back to the ship and it's your turn to buy. It's your day to buy. Always your day to buy.
Exactly. And remember, it's included. So thank goodness you get back on the ship. You don't have to buy them anymore, right?
That's right.
It's
That's
included.
Right.
And that is the beautiful thing. It really does give you these great, beautiful, special moments around the world that we make possible and make it easy for you.
And Perry Golf is, talk about a top-notch company. I was calling there one day to get some information, and I can't think of the gentleman's name that's the CEO there, having a senior moment. He answers the phone.
I love that.
And I said, "Why are you answering the phone?" He
I
goes,
love that.
It was ringing."
He goes, "Why would I not answer the phone? It was ringing."
Exactly. Yeah, that's a huge, huge plus for you guys. If you really want some bragging rights, try the New Zealand Golf Trail, do the British Open, do the Scotland and Ireland cruise. They just make it so much fun for your golfers. Oh, and if you're not a golfer, they usually have special activities.
That's right.
For the non-golfer. Not, I almost said ladies, but sometimes the guy's the non-golfer.
That's right. Because I'm a big golfer.
Are you?
So I wouldn't be doing anything but playing golf there. I've played the old course, new course. I've done so many golf courses in Scotland, and I really love golf. I'm not great at it, but I sure love it.
So if you want bragging rights about playing some of the best, most obscure, hardest to get to golf courses
That's
in the
right.
world, let us know and we'll get you set up on an Azamara golf cruise with Perry Golf.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Our time is definitely out by now. And I just want to again say thank you so much. You just always brighten my day up. You talked about me walking in a room. When you walk in a room, especially if you're with some of your counterparts in the industry that you often hang out with, and we shall not name them here. But when you ladies walk in the room, the whole place just comes alive. And I appreciate you taking time from your, I know, very busy schedule trying to get new things done. And I look forward to seeing you at our convention in, I guess it's coming up in October.
It's almost here, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me. It means the world.
Okay. I still don't believe that that she started in this industry right out of kindergarten, I'm pretty sure.
No, I've already told them. I started right when I graduated college, 20 years in the airline business, 20 years at my predecessor, and now 2 here. So it's actually 42, believe it or not.
Wow.
But I've loved every single second of it, and there is nowhere else on earth I would rather be.
And there's nobody that would rather have you than the people that have you right now. Because everybody,
Thank you.
You're just a joy to be around and a joy to work with. And I thank you so much for coming on our program.
Means the world to me, and I can't wait to see you in October.
All righty.
Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.